Hey, Omnibus Collectors, it's Riley, and I am back with another Omnibus Highlight here. This time I'm going to be talking about the brand new Green Lanterns Omnibus by Geoff Johns. Now, this is the first volume of a series of 3 that will run through his entire run on the series, which went for like about 100 issues or so. And my dog Chewy is here and wants to get in the video apparently, so excuse that. Also, other happenings in my life right now. It's February 8th, a nice sunny Sunday outside in Austin, Texas, and I had both a cousin and a niece born on the same day. So, some pretty cool stuff there. Anyway, I'm really happy for my families, and that's awesome, and I hope to see both of them soon. But for right now, we will be talking about Green Lantern. So this is a book that I was really excited about to see come out. Geoff Johns' run on Green Lantern is one of the runs that really got me into reading more of the modern DC stuff. I started back before Blackest Night reading it in singles, and I really just fell in love with it and jumped in and read everything after that and read everything before that, and it was just a really great experience. I've owned everything in collections, in paperbacks and hardcovers, but being the Omnibus collector, I had to trade up and get these. So I'm, pleased with the product, but there is a lot of pretty strong negatives to happen here. So let's start from the outside and go in. First off, we get a nice looking dust jacket cover from with Alex Ross's artwork. I really like the spine design. Green Lantern by Geoff Johns Omnibus Volume 1. You've got the, ring being wielded on a glove here, DC Comics logo, so it looks nice on the shelf. That cover has some Ethan Van Sciver artwork, and you get all the, witness the rebirth of the Corps, and the contents here: Green Lantern Rebirth 1 through 6, Green Lantern Corps Recharge 1 through 5, Green Lantern 1 through 25, Green Lantern Corps 14 through 18, Tales of the Sinestro Corps, Superman Prime number 1, Green Lantern Sinestro Corps Special number 1, Green Lantern Secret Files 2005 number 1, and Green Lantern Sinestro Corps The Secret Files number 1. So essentially this book goes through from the beginning with Rebirth and Recharge, which launched both the Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps books, and it goes all the way through the Sinestro Corps War crossover. That's what those issues of Green Lantern Corps, 14 through 18 I think they were. Yeah, that's why those are in here, but nothing before that, and none of the stuff after that is probably going to be collected because it was actually a crossover. I had people ask me before if the second and third volume are going to collect Green Lantern Corps issues. They won't be collecting those issues because they're not actually part of crossover. They just tie in, but it mostly is its own story. So anyway, going on inside. And creators on the front: Geoff Johns, of course, Ethan Van Sciver, Carlos Pacheco, Ivan Rice, or Reese, Patrick Gleason, Dave Gibbons, Simone Bianchi, Daniel Acuna, and Darwin Cook. Forgive me if I mispronounce anyone's names. It's the kind of those things where you only read the names or read the words if you never really heard them said out loud. So yeah. Underneath the dust jacket, we get some Ethan Van Sciver artwork on the cover. This is the spine resembles what's on the dust jacket, except it's got more black instead of a white. And the back cover here is more Van Sciver artwork. So here's my major disappointment. Now this is a pretty thick book, and as we know, DC's binding is not the best. The last omnibus that I grabbed from them, which is probably the last notable release they had, was JSA Volume 2, and I noted that the binding on that one was a lot better than what we've seen from them before. It was better in that when you opened it, there wasn't as much of the gutter loss here. You can see it's the same way here. There's not much gutter loss, so it's easier to read with the book staying open. You're not going to have to be concerned so much about this folding back over and closing while you're trying to read it. You don't have to hold down the back. So they're finally getting to where they are able to stop that from happening pretty well, which is a really good thing because some of those earlier omnibus that they had, Hawkman was really bad because it was glued. The New Teen Titans one were glued as well. And then some of the ones when they started doing sewn binding were still bad, and you couldn't keep it open until you had it open for a few hundred pages, which was a real negative. So that's a big positive here. But the negative is that if you could hear it when I opened it, it cracks. And if you see right here, there's already some disconnect happening on my spine from the back cover. Now, I'm not terribly concerned with it because when I open it to the back page, there's no ripping, there's no bad disconnect there, but it shows that it wasn't properly put together. And that could just be with mine, because I've had some people who are really pleased with theirs. I've had other people send me messages that they're displeased with theirs. So it could be something that's very spotty, where it's like some people have that problem, some people don't. Mine personally has that issue, and it's pretty disappointing because that means that I wouldn't recommend just, having this as a copy you're going to flip through all the time. That means that I'd be really hesitant to just pull it off the shelf and flip through it. You're going to want to be careful with this one. I was doing my standard exercise to stretch out the binding, as I do with all my books, where I open it from the middle and I'll lay down pages. But when I opened it from the middle, I had that crack, and it really startled me. And my wife even was like, "Ooh, that doesn't sound good." So, if she's going to say something, that it's not a good sound to have. So that's my biggest disappointment with this book. The binding, less gutter loss, but it's not as strong. And I do fear that it can become disassembled. So that's an issue, and I hope that the second volume and the potential third one that's going to come out wind up being fixed. But anyway, so aside from the construction of the book, looking at the insides, the guts of this guy, it looks really nice on the inside. So some cover pages with some nice artwork. It goes straight into the story. There's a few pages of prelude, and then we see the first cover for Green Lantern Rebirth. And then on the back of the cover, you get the title of the issue, the creators that are involved, and so on. And that's in there for every single issue, which I really dig. I like that they add that. One thing that I would have preferred happen was before all of this, after this page, before this first page of story, I wish they had a table of contents so you can easily see which artists are doing the artwork on various issues. That would have been very nice. But otherwise, I really like that way of doing things. And there's a lot of great artwork to have in here. He worked with a lot of amazing artists throughout this series. Here's some nice stuff from Van Sciver here from, I believe this is still from Rebirth. Darwin Cook here, always a great artist, fantastic looking stuff. This looks like some Patrick Gleason artwork, so that's probably from Green Lantern Corps. Gleason, who kept doing Corps, or this is probably from Recharge, but he did the artwork on Corps for a long time, and then Pete Tomasi and he went off and did artwork for, they did the Batman Robin series for the New 52. This looks like it's still some Gleason stuff. We're going to get some Ivan Reis, or Ivan Reis, or however you pronounce his name. I apologize for mispronouncing it. Here's some Carlos Pacheco artwork, and everything looks really awesome, especially Van Sciver. His artwork just looks fantastic on these oversized pages, as you can see here. Just amazing looking artwork. And the story matches. The story is just incredible. Now, I've gotten a lot of people who have sent me messages asking, oh, here's some Simone Bianchi artwork as well. Always fantastic art. People have sent me questions asking me, I've got the Absolutes, or I've been thinking about buying the Absolute editions of Geoff Johns' Green Lantern run. Should I get those, or should I go ahead and get the Omnibus? And I've responded that I recommend the Omnibus over the Absolutes, because there's a lot of this material here that's really important to the story as a whole that you really don't get if all you're doing is reading the Absolutes. The Absolutes, you get Rebirth, you get Sinestro Corps War, and then after that, you get Blackest Night. So there's only 3 volumes of the Absolutes for Geoff Johns' whole run. but with the omnibus, you get everything in between each of those events, and you get everything after Blackest Night as well. And John's run is really one of those things where everything builds upon everything, so you really want to read everything to get the sense of the whole story. Like right here is an issue about with Abin Sur, and you can see there's like the black hand symbol in the background. Black Hand's going to come out later and be a major piece of the storyline as we go forward. So he just, you know, he puts things in there. That's an awesome page. I always love this one. Batman and the Sinestro Corps. But you get material constantly going forward that's building on each other, and it's building up towards these big things. You know, it built up from the beginning to the... oh, it wasn't Abin Sur. That was Abin Sur's son. My bad. Going forward, you know, leading into Sinestro Corps War. And then there was a bunch of material that was leading into the Blackest Night with introducing the Red Lanterns and the Indigo Tribe and, you know, Agent Orange and all those different crews. After Blackest Night, we went to Brightest Day, and we go towards the end of his run. This is some Daniel Acuna artwork. So it's really important to really get everything, and that's why I think that this is a fantastic volume as far as the narrative goes, because you get all of that material in one solid place, so you can sit there and read through his entire run and really appreciate how everything does build upon itself into one big storyline, which all leads towards one huge conclusion with the New 52 series issue number 20 that came out just a couple years ago. So it's a really nice looking volume. There's a ton of great artwork throughout by a lot of great artists. You know, I think I've pointed that out enough, and I've seriously gone through and shown a lot of the fantastic artwork that's in here. And DC's done a really nice job at, you know, putting those on the oversized pages, which is nice because outside of the absolutes, most of this work has not been seen on anything outside of standard sized pages. However, as I mentioned, it does have that weakness in that it has that weak binding, at least on mine. I'm not sure if it's on 100% of these books, but on mine it does have that weak binding at the end, which does lead me to be concerned as for, you know, the structural integrity of this book. So if that's something that would deter you, then I would have to say, sadly, that this might be one that you would want to pass on. If you're not too worried about it, and you're gonna be reading it carefully anyway. You're gonna be setting it down on, you know, on a surface and reading it page by page very, very carefully. Then it's not something that I would be so worried about. It's not something that you would have to be concerned about. But you know, it's definitely a negative, and I would definitely say that. Thankfully, the story is amazing. The artwork is incredible throughout. And I do highly recommend it, especially if you've never read any Geoff Johns Green Lantern stuff before. This is the place to get into it. This is the place to get the most bang for your buck, in my opinion. So I hope that this really helps people to decide whether they want to buy this volume or not. You know, sound out below with questions and comments and concerns about everything that I've gone through in here. If you have any questions about the content other than what I've talked about, let me know what you think if you got the volume. Does yours have the same problem with the binding as mine does? Or is yours better looking? Does it not have that same problem? So thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Check out my other videos. Go to collectedcomicslibrary.com to see what else I'm writing over there. Go to my site at www.theomnibuscollector.tumblr.com, where I'm answering all your questions and concerns. And, you know, generally just keep up with what I'm doing. I got a lot of cool content coming out at a pretty steady pace nowadays, and I'm excited to show it to everyone. And before anyone comments on it, yes, I did shave my beard, so that's gone. Sorry. Anyway, stay tuned for more videos soon. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.